This will be a look at two throws from Lamar Jackson's 2020 game against the Buffalo Bills. I guess technically it was the playoffs in 2021. Of course, it was a disappointing 17-3 loss that the Ravens had up there when Lamar got knocked out via concussion. Disappointing for us as Ravens fans because we had just come off our first playoff win under Lamar over the Titans on the road and felt like we had an opportunity to go up there and beat a Bills team that was really not that talented. But in any case, it's going to be two throws. The first one is going to be a 2nd and 10, and it's going to be a scramble by Lamar where he's going to find J.K. Dobbins. You can see that let's let it run one play through. People seem to like that rather than me diagramming and stopping and starting immediately. You can see Lamar creates space, finds J.K. Dobbins up the far sideline. Dobbins makes one guy miss, breaks a second tackle, and then is eventually slung out of bounds. We'll let you see the end zone angle as well. I released a video last night indicating that, whatever coverage you play against Lamar Jackson, it has to be one that doesn't give him time. And in both of these plays here, you will see he either has time, the second play that I will show you, or he created time, this play right here. So let's break it down from the top. You got a quads formation with Mark Andrews backside. So you've got someone backside who is, good enough on whatever route tree you want to talk about. Sometimes he runs a little whip route or chine out. Whatever route tree you want to talk about, you've got someone good enough to hold the backside safety. And the Ravens do have two of those guys this season, if you ask me, in Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman. They have two guys that they could set backside that could force teams to hold a backside safety. And if they do not, then we can attack them and win those matchups most of the time. 4-man rush by the Bills. There is some pressure. It looks like Orlando Brown, I believe, at left tackle is being beat. Lamar has to step up and then spin to find some space. And no one covers J.K. Dobbins at all up that left side. Well, how did that happen? All right, you get a quad set and you get two verticals. So they're stretching you with Marquise Brown. And then I think Miles Boykin is running almost immediately, almost exactly in the center of those two guys there, like a letter T, okay? So essentially, those two are occupying what ends up being 3 Bills defenders. Just do the math, 4-man rush, only leaves 4 other underneath droppers, and here they are. Dobbins is able to find space. Lamar takes his time, delivers the football. Cool play, illustration again of Lamar being able to create, find time and create space for himself. And then J.K. Dobbins having the awareness and wherewithal. You can see Miles Boykin splitting those two deep defenders. Lamar is clearly looking in that direction. This is a 2nd and 10, so I'm not sure that he was necessarily going to Boykin. Could have been what is now our classic clear-out route, which you'll see in a moment. Trying to show as many examples of Lamar throwing the football as possible for Ravens fans. I mean, obviously, I'd like to get as many views as possible on my channel, but put out content that allows Ravens fans to see what Lamar has done, what he can do in certain situations. This next one is going to be a 3rd and 18 from that same game. Later on that quarter, you can see we're down 3-0. Defense played quite well. The Bills are going to play an off coverage. We go empty again. We've got 2 over here. And this concept will be really familiar once I break it down to a lot of people. You got your kind of classic quarters coverage, split field coverage, 3 underneath droppers. And they're just trying to match the routes. They're just trying to pattern read. So, I'm quite sure that there were some split field calls made by the safeties, the safety in the corner to each side of the field. You can see that Micah Hyde is communicating something here to the corner to his left, and Milano, the inside linebacker, is looking in that direction. So there's some very clear communication being done that we can see from this side. So when I say split field coverage, that's what I mean, is that the safety, corner, and maybe an inside backer to that side are all making calls that could be independent of each other. So here you are. You can see communication from those 3 guys. They don't have to communicate with these D-line guys because they're rushing the passer. Presumably, you've got some communication going on here, possibly with Tremaine Edwards there as well. So we'll let it run one more time, and I'll stop it at the point when Marquise Brown makes the catch. I referred to it on the previous play. This is just your classic clear-out combination with a deep over route. Now, we do this a little differently than normal. Normally, Mark Andrews is here, aligned tight to the right tackle, and he's running that over concept. And you are getting a clear out route by, I think it's Willie Snead, and then another clear out route by Miles Boykin. Andrews, however, is up here. So what they're going to do is chip with Andrews initially. They're going to chip and then run him out into the flats. Brown's deep over route, and he's going to catch it a little deeper than that. That line's not drawn perfectly. Is what it's going to do is it's going to go over the top of the linebacker level, and because of the coverage, the check that they ran, so what you've got is one, which was Marquise Brown. He was the number one receiver. He's running across, deep, post, deep over, whatever you want to call it. So the safety is going to take him. All right. This corner is zoning off. That's one of the advantages of the split field coverages is that you as a quarterback, you can't tell exactly what their call is. Clamp, blue, whatever, terminology people use could be TCU stuff, whatever. But in any case, the corner is zoning off. Okay, he's zoning off, letting Brown go, and this safety is running with him. And the route's going to go over the top of the linebacker level. So I've talked about the routes a little bit. Let's talk about Lamar. There's a crap ton of time back here. Again, the chip by Andrews helps the left tackle some. They're able to double team over here on the other edge. Now, they did run a stunt, and I'll show it to you from the end zone angle, and that stunt was a little slow developing, and you can do that on 3rd and 18 because you don't have to get immediately in the quarterback's face. So Andrews is going to chip this guy here, who's going to run down and I think pick for number 91. You can see the pick happening here. 91 was waiting for the pick to happen so he could loop around. And it is somewhat, successful. He is getting upfield, but Lamar just had too much time. You'll get to see it again. So he's going to run down. He's going to pick Bozeman, and then 91, the D tackle, who you kind of can't see because he's on the other side of Edmonds right now. He's going to be the guy who loops around. So their design on the rush was such that they knew they weren't going to get immediate pressure. They were trying to get pressure late. Problem was Brown gets over the top of the linebacker level, and this safety, just because of the leverage that's created by his alignment, is impossible for him to get over there with Marquise Brown. Great catch by Marquise Brown, and it goes unsaid that it's a great throw by Lamar Jackson, right? These are, is every play that I'm going to show in this series going to be a great one? No, but this one's pretty damn good. I like the design, especially using Andrews late to the flats. These two guys are just running, those clear out routes that I drew up. So we're omitting them. Really, to me, this is a one-read play. And if I was going to complain about something, that would be the complaint that you would make, which is, who else is there to possibly throw the ball to? Now, it's easy to say right now that, hey, Snead's route isn't going to be open because, this corner could get off and defend it. And that is absolutely true. But going back to something I said a couple of minutes ago, Lamar and our coaches, we don't know the split field call made between these guys. And there's different coverages and different ways you play it. They could have made a call to say, hey, we're going to play man here, and we're going to play man here, and this guy's going to zone off to deep halves. They could make that call. They could make the call where one does this, and the corner stays with him and goes, and the safety, gets depth, which then essentially would be the same thing I drew up a moment ago. This linebacker will be responsible for him. The only difference is the linebacker can't possibly read number one. When I say read number one, I'm talking about reading this guy. What they ended up doing, in my opinion, was just calling basic quarters concept, where if one goes in, then the safety goes ahead and takes him. Now, the problem is, on the other side, you got Snead kind of running the same route as Brown over here. What if we had run something like this, with Brown and Snead here? Well, then theoretically, this safety would pick up Snead. And that's the concept. That's what makes it, I shouldn't say difficult, but that theoretically, that's what makes this coverage a difficult one to attack, is you don't know the split field calls they're making, and you don't know how the safeties and corners are reading it on that particular play. Of course, teams have tendencies where they play certain coverages in terms of field position, down and distance as well, and then personnel that are on the field. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. being a Lamar Jackson fan, this is a Ravens channel primarily, but I try to show and throw respect to as many NFL teams as I can. These are the types of things I want to put out so people can see some of the things that Lamar Jackson can do, some of the route design, and I was a little critical of the route design on this one. You guys let me know what you think of some of my thoughts in the comment section. I always appreciate you guys making comments. I learned from some of the comments myself. And if you have not subscribed to the channel and you enjoy the content, please consider doing so after checking out this video.